Hi, this is the Cherry Wellness Show, the show for you, the busy professional who wants to live a healthier, happier life with increased energy and productivity. I'm Jackie Grant, and your host. And tonight we're going to be talking about being your true, authentic. And we've got Cathy McKinnon, who's going to, have I said your surname right, Cathy?
Yeah, it's enough. It's okay.
Okay, cool. Who is going to be talking to us all about that. So welcome, Cathy, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Just the title of your show just fed into my energy so much. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is it. This is it. Because it's not just about growing. You have to change and you have to be comfortable with change to grow.
Exactly. It's brilliant. Cool. So, Cathy, tell us all about you and what you do and how you got to be doing what you're doing.
Yes. So I offer wellness and life coaching along with yoga personal training. I built in the 3 components because I believe you have to balance mind, body, and energy to get to your optimal being. And I came to this business through my own transformation. I never sat back and said, I want to be a wellness coach or I want to be a yoga instructor. As I went through my own journey, I went through years of infertility struggles. And in the midst of my infertility struggles, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I really got kind of this double kick to the gut. And I just had to step back and say, what am I doing wrong? What is all this trying to tell me? And of course, now at the time I was young and couldn't see it. I thought I was invincible, but I really had to step back and pay more attention to my health and what I was doing to my body. You know, when we're young, we all think we're invincible and we can eat whatever we want and do whatever we want. And this was the universe putting me in check and giving me a reality check that I have to start paying attention to what I'm doing to my body and my mind. And through my own transformation and really stepping back and overhauling my life and my habits and my lifestyle, I started showing up differently. And I had people around me, fellow moms, friends say, what are you doing? Because you're showing up so differently. You're showing up with joy and laughter and so much lighter that we want whatever this is that you've got. And initially, I just started helping 1 or 2 close friends, and then I decided to go all in and put it out to the universe and see how many lives I can help shift.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, in terms of your journey with infertility and cancer, which one was first? Was it the cancer or infertility? Which one came first?
I started with the infertility, and it was really struggling with understanding why I kept having so many miscarriages. I could get pregnant, but I couldn't maintain a pregnancy. And I really started to take this on very personally, that it was me, I was doing something wrong. You know, this is a thing that women should just embrace, should come naturally for women. So what am I doing? What's wrong with me? And I was just determined to find an answer. And as women, we know sometimes there's no logical answer to it, but in going from doctor to doctor and kind of this obsessive behavior because I needed to have an answer, what I found was the cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a complete fluke that it was found. I'm absolutely grateful that they found it when they did, and they found it very early. But it was, at a fertility workup that this is where they found the cancer. And so it was in the midst of my infertility journey that I had to face this cancer battle. And that really threw me into just this depression, because now not only did I have a baby, now I was facing cancer. And I was young at the time. I was not even 30 years old. I had no family history of this type of cancer. And I, again, took it all on personally, like what did I do? What was wrong with me? And it took years of a lot of hard work for me to step back and say, it wasn't anything I was doing. And I can't take it personally. It was just a chapter in my journey, and my story isn't over yet. And so I have the opportunity to completely shift how this story changes.
Wow, that's just, oh no, but it's really found it. I mean, so what cancer was it
I
they
had
found?
thyroid cancer.
Thyroid. Okay, so it's even one that's not that as common as all the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And so it's thyroid cancer. So what was your next step of your journey then, in terms of that?
Yeah. So I had my thyroid completely removed. And for those that know, your thyroid controls so much of your body, your energy, your metabolism, so much, your sleep habits. And so I had to relearn my body because I don't have my thyroid. I take medication to mimic the thyroid, but
Yeah.
everything that worked before that in terms of dieting or exercise or sleep habits, none of it worked anymore. I couldn't just revert to these habits that I knew. I had to relearn my body. I had to relearn what foods work for me. I had to relearn, how many hours of sleep I need, how much my body can really take all over again. And it was frustrating because here I am, an adult trying to relearn my body. And I felt like I was just starting all over again as a child. But it really gave me to take the time to get educated on what I was doing to my body, what the implications were, not just physical in terms of what I eat or if I exercise, but the mindfulness. I had not done mindfulness practice before. I had not done yoga before all this. And so taking that time to slow down and allowing myself that space just opened up an entirely another world. Stop pushing myself to be the people pleaser and keep going till 2 a.m. doing these work projects. Taking the time to say no and create those boundaries really just opened up a whole nother world for me.
Wow. Well, Cathy, what a journey so far. What a journey.
It's
So,
crazy.
Cathy, because, I mean, not having a thyroid makes it even more difficult. Someone that actually has got a thyroid, has got all these other things, still has that, thing that they have to learn how their body actually operates. But people don't actually realize that. You can't be having the same diet as someone else anyway. So it must be so easy for you to speak to people about, come on now, this is how you need to be thinking.
We cannot do fad diets. We cannot do what our neighbor is doing. We cannot do the commercials on TV. We're in a society where everybody wants that quick fix, right? They see the person down the street doing it and it worked for them. So it's got to work for me. But here's the thing. All of our bodies are so unique and they react so differently that you cannot do that, or you're doing yourself an injustice and you're just going to become frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That is, oh God, that's so amazing, because seriously, it can be such a struggle to be explaining to people about that. It's like you have to find a way that your body operates exactly because actually your body knows what it needs. It's just finding that solution for it.
Well, and a lot of people getting past it in your mind, right? Because in our minds, we want that instant fix, right? And so you have to allow your mind the time and space to learn and go through the learning process of what works for you. And that's the hardest thing, especially in today's society.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, because you said you're a health coach, right? Because in the UK, we don't really have that many health coaches, and people don't really understand what a health coach is. They kind of they know what a dietitian does, a nutritionist does, but not what a health coach does. Do you want to explain a little bit about what a health coach actually what?
Yeah. So what I do for my clients is we step back and we evaluate their path or their goal for their health, because everybody's is different. So I don't do cookie cutter approach. I don't push products. We step back and say, okay, what is it you want? Is it you want to run a particular race? Is it you want to lose particular weight? What is it you are after for you? And then we look at their habits, we look at their schedule and say, okay, we only have 24 hours in a day. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. How do we create space to incorporate these healthy habits, whether it's time to meal prep, whether it's more time to get to the gym and train, whether it's time to go and meditate? You have to be able to say no to things and create boundaries to open. And being that accountability partner and working with them each week and saying, okay, what were the obstacles or challenges you faced this week? Okay, how can we break down that obstacle so you can get past it and get tripped up? And I think so many times, even I have personally hired a coach, because accountability, we all need it. We all need someone at times to kick us in the behind.
Definitely. Most of the time you need someone behind you talking away, telling you, yes, all right, stop procrastinating about that. Just get that done.
And it's so easy to fall back into old habits, right?
It is.
I mean, until they're truly ingrained in your lifestyle and you're comfortable with them, which takes so much time and getting used to, it's so easy to slip back and say, you know what, I'm going to go sit on the couch and watch TV instead.
Exactly. So how do you think that people can start to begin to build their true authentic self? Because some of these things that we're already talking about are building blocks to get in there. But what are things?
Yeah, I would say number one thing is step back. Step back from your current situation, what your busy schedule, whatever you've got going on, and think about what it is that you want, whether it's the vision or the goal. And then once you have that, then you can step back and say, how do I get there? But sometimes we're so buried in our hectic lives, day to day, just going through the motions, that we lose sight of the big picture. So really saying, disregard everything I have going on today. If none of this were true, what would I want my life to look like? Now, maybe it's exactly what you've got, and that's perfect. But maybe it's not, and you say, okay, I don't like this crazy hectic schedule. I'm getting burnt out. And then it's, how do you implement these boundaries and start saying no to things that aren't serving you, that aren't serving your purpose, that aren't serving your vision? And that's hard, especially as women. We tend to be people pleasers, right? We want to be caretakers. And so saying no is so hard. But once you see that these things aren't serving you, they're just draining you, they're holding you back from getting to whatever that vision or goal is, that's when the power of no is so great.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you, I mean, you talked about mindfulness, and I think a lot of people don't actually take that on board, don't actually take a lot of the things that, we need to be doing in terms of our own self-care. So what types of things would you say that would be things that people can begin to start doing in order to build that in?
Yeah, I think sometimes people get overwhelmed when they hear the words meditation or yoga, especially for fast-paced people. Like the thought of just coming to a screeching halt terrifies you. Start by journaling. Start by listening to some podcasts. Start by just taking the time out. And maybe that time out is only 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be this, great big hour-long endeavor. But start by taking a baby step just to do nothing, just to reset your mind, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, whether it's, listening to a podcast, whether it's just going outside for a quiet walk, not with your phone, not with your earbuds, just quiet and stillness. And I think, we're all so busy and hectic. And if you just start with whether it's 10 or 15 minutes, that reset that you do for yourself, for your mind, will pay dividends.
For sure, for sure. It definitely does. You know, I was doing bits and pieces of my course, and they were saying that actually meditation brings your. Some people have smaller hippocampus, and that it can really it can make it bigger. You know, in terms of supporting you overall, and it's amazing how something like that can actually change the size of your brain. It's so amazing,
It's so amazing. And I was that person. I was that person who would work, 20 hours a day, just constantly grinding. And initially the thought of like meditation or yoga, I was like, I can't do that. I can't sit still. That my mind would go just crazy trying to sit still. And now my entire life has come to just this manageable pace that I actually enjoy it, as opposed to just running around like a crazy person. And now I'm like dabbling in different things. Like a few months back, I tried yoga Nidra. I had never even heard of such a thing. I had the best sleep of my life for that 45-minute yoga Nidra. And I was like, if I could get that sleep all the time, I'd be in heaven.
In it. That's it. That's for sure.
And all it took 45 minutes. Like everybody can give up 45 minutes to an hour for that trade-off.
Exactly. So, Happy, just to kind of wrap up in terms of your journey. So you came through the cancer, and now, in terms of fertility, what's happened with that?
Now I have my 8-year-old son.
Yes.
He is my angel baby, my one and only. But he has just going through that entire process. Of course, it is just torment at the time for any woman, anybody going through that process. But now, like the joy this little boy brings me, and this whole process has taken me through a perspective of just slow down and enjoy life, like be present, sit on the floor and play with him, go on the bike rides, go on we go on mother-son vacations, and that's our dedicated time. Take the time, because the joy and the laughter, it's there. It really is.
Good, brilliant. So, and you've had to make so many changes in order for that to happen. So, these things can happen for people. You've got through cancer. You had a son. It's all amazing that these things are happening, and that's all through the changes that you've made to your health, and that's amazing.
And I think I would have not recognized these destructive behaviors that I was doing to my health if it was not for these things. I mean, this was the universe's way of calling me out on my bad behavior. I probably have gone on for years with my continued bad behavior. And now I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I can't put that in my body. Like, that's crazy. I can't do that to myself, because that's shortening my life. That's shortening my time with my son. I can't do that to him. I can't do that to me, because I'm having too much fun now.
That's cool. That's amazing. So what final tips and strategies would you like to, tell our audience in order for them to start to build their true authentic self?
Yeah, I think number one, finding that goal or vision, whatever that is for you. There's no right or wrong. And then looking at the 5 areas of your life that feed into that, right? So you have your health, you have money, you have your relationships, you have your calling, which also might be your career, and then you have your connection to something greater. Doesn't have to be religious. For some people it is, whatever that is. And look at those 5 areas of your life and look at how they're feeding into your vision. And maybe you need to make some changes, and maybe you need to start saying no to things. And maybe there's more things you need to say yes to, because they're going to open doors for such great opportunity that you cannot wait to say yes to some of these things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's so true. Looking at those areas, looking at which ones are going closer to the center, and which ones are going further away from the center, and which ones need your focus right now. Definitely.
And it's a constant reevaluation, right? You can't just do that exercise once and go check the box, I'm done, right? Because life changes, things change, and how do they fit into that?
Exactly. And Cathy, so have you got any freebies for our audience? Anything that you'd like to pass on to them?
I would just say, do not wait. Do not wait another day to start taking action to have your best life. Whatever that is for you, life is way too short. Time is way too short, and you deserve to go out there and enjoy it to your fullest.
Brilliant. And where can people find you, Cathy? Whereabouts are you on social media, website?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Wellness Warrior Coaching. And the business name has to have warrior in it because that is a nickname my close friends gave me through my battles. So we all have that inner warrior, and sometimes you need a coach or someone to drag it out of you, but you have it to fight for what you want your life to be.
Yeah, great. So thank you for being on the show today. It's been amazing. It's been interesting talking all about your journey, the struggles that you've had, but you've come out the other side in such an amazing way. So thank you for being on the show for us today.
Thank you for having me.
That's great. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the show today. And make sure that you look up Cathy, see how she could help you, and also just sit back and think about the journey that you've just had and how you can create a good, fulfilling life for yourself as long as you take care of yourself. So take care, guys. Bye. Oh, Cathy.